Imagine a Picasso painting so rare that nobody alive today had ever seen it in colour. For 80 years, it was locked away in a private home in France, quietly passed from one heir to another, forgotten by the world. The signature on the canvas? Pablo Picasso. The subject? Dora Maar, the woman whose face he shattered, reassembled and immortalized during the darkest years of his life. And the price? $37 million. But what shocked the art world wasn't the money, it was the mystery. Why was this painting hidden for 80 years? Why was it sold in 1944, just weeks after Picasso finished it, then never seen again? And why, in the exact same season, did another Dora Maar portrait from the same period ignite a bidding war in Hong Kong, breaking Picasso's Asian auction record? 2 portraits, 2 huge sales, 2 pieces of a story Picasso never fully told. So what secrets were these paintings holding for 8 decades? What do they reveal about Picasso's darkest year and about the woman he once called the Weeping One? Let's open that vault. This is the story of the hidden Picasso and the 2 portraits that rewrote the art world in 2025. Buste de femme au chapeau à fleurs was created on the 11th of July 1943, at a time when Paris felt like a city holding its breath. World War II was raging. Nazi soldiers patrolled the streets. At that time, Picasso's art was officially banned, labelled degenerate. And yet, he kept painting quietly in a dim studio on Rue des Grands Augustins, where he worked under constant surveillance, never knowing who might knock on his door. It was in that atmosphere of fear and tension that he painted Dora Maar. But here's where the story takes a turn. Just weeks after finishing the portrait, the painting vanished. In August 1944, the same month Paris was being liberated, a private French collector bought the work, and then the door closed. The painting disappeared into a family home. For almost 80 years, the art world had no idea it still existed. Experts only knew about it from a single black and white photograph taken by Brassai in 1944 and a brief line of text in Picasso's catalogue raisonné. To most historians, it was practically a myth, a lost wartime Picasso. So when it suddenly resurfaced at Hôtel Drouot in Paris in 2025, the reaction was electric. 18 bidders from Europe, Asia and the US fought for it. The bidding escalated fast, climbing far beyond the €8 million estimate. And then finally, one collector in the room won it for €32 million, nearly 4 times the expected price. A hidden wartime Picasso, lost in a private home, had finally returned to the world. Just weeks before the hidden Picasso stunned Paris, another Dora Maar portrait ignited a completely different kind of excitement, this time in Hong Kong. This 1944 painting arrived at Christie's with a modest expectation, $11 to $14 million. Serious money, but nothing extraordinary for a Picasso. And then the bidding started. 2 determined bidders, both calling in internationally, refused to back down. The auction stretched on for more than 15 minutes, an eternity in auction time. And when the hammer finally fell, the price had shot up to $25.4 million, over double the estimate, a new Picasso auction record in Asia. But what made this painting so desirable? For starters, it's nearly identical in size to the 1943 hidden work, 81 by 65 centimetres, and it was created just months later, in the very same emotional storm of Picasso's life, the final collapse of his relationship with Dora Maar. In fact, the two paintings are so closely connected that Picasso was reworking similar compositions day after day, adjusting angles, colours and emotional intensity like a man trying to paint his way out of turmoil. A sibling version from this same period ended up in the Tate Modern, where it's considered one of the defining Dora Maar portraits of the mid-1940s. But the Hong Kong version, that one stayed in private hands, and when it reappeared, the market went wild. To understand these paintings, you have to understand Dora Maar, because these portraits aren't just images of her, they are records of everything she lived through. She was a surrealist photographer, a painter, a filmmaker, and one of the sharpest political minds in Picasso's entire circle. Their first meeting in 1936 became almost legendary. Picasso walked into a Paris cafe and saw Dora sitting at a table playing a dangerous game. She placed her hand on the table, spread her fingers, and began stabbing a knife between them again and again, cutting through her black gloves, drawing small pools of blood. Picasso couldn't look away. When she finally stopped, he asked for the gloves and she gave them to him. He kept them in a glass cabinet like relics, and this exact moment tells you everything about their relationship. They stayed together for 9 years, a relationship filled with passion, rivalry, and emotional turbulence. But there was always a shadow over them. Picasso never left Marie-Thérèse Walter, the young lover he had kept secret, and the mother of his daughter Maya. Dora knew she could never fully replace her, and that knowledge quietly tore her apart. Picasso later described Dora with one sentence that still defines her legacy. For me, she is the weeping woman. And you can see that in these portraits. The fractured features, the sharp edges, the eyes full of tension, the colours fighting each other on canvas. Picasso didn't paint what Dora looked like, he painted what she felt like, to him, to herself, and inside the pressure cooker of wartime Paris. The years 1943 and 1944 were some of the darkest and most revealing in Picasso's entire life. And at the same time, something even more personal was breaking apart. His 9-year relationship with Dora Maar was collapsing in slow motion. By 1943, Picasso had already begun drifting toward another woman, Françoise Gillot, a 21-year-old painter whose youth and optimism stood in painful contrast to Dora's growing anxiety and emotional exhaustion. Dora felt it instantly. Her world with Picasso, which had once been fueled by creativity and fire, was coming undone. And Picasso, being Picasso, didn't talk about it, he painted it. Picasso is using mature cubism here, but not the analytical cubism of the early 1900s. He's doing it because he's trying to make sense of a situation where nothing feels whole anymore. That's why Dora's face appears from the front and from both sides, all at once. She isn't one person in these paintings, she's many. The lover losing her place, the artist overshadowed by a giant, the woman caught in a collapsing relationship, and the person silently absorbing Picasso's emotional storms. Picasso wasn't painting her features, he was painting her psychology. When Picasso finally walked away from the relationship in 1945, Dora didn't just lose a lover, she lost the centre of the world she had built around him. The breakup hit her with full force. She suffered a severe mental and emotional breakdown. She was hospitalised and was placed under the care of psychoanalyst Jacques Lacan, one of the most influential thinkers of the century. She was subjected to electroshock therapy, a treatment that often erased as much as it healed. After leaving the clinic, Dora retreated from public life. She moved to Manerbe, a quiet village in Provence, to a house Picasso had acquired for her, not with money, but by trading one of his own paintings. There she lived in near seclusion. She stayed this way for decades, almost forgotten by the world that once celebrated her. And later she died in 1997, leaving behind a legacy far more complex than the title of Picasso's Muse. And the saddest part? Even years after their breakup, Picasso continued to wound her, sending drawings, comments, and gifts that brought back memories she was trying desperately to escape. Dora Maar was never just a muse. She was a visionary photographer, a political thinker, a surrealist talent who helped shape Picasso's most important decade, and yet she paid the heaviest emotional price for it. In the art market, Picasso's works dominate auctions year after year, and even now, decades after his death, his paintings routinely break records that other artists can't even approach. Here are his biggest auction results so far. Les Femmes d'Alger, version O, $179.4 million. Femme à la montre, $139.4 million. Buste de femme au chapeau, $37.1 million. Buste de femme, $25.4 million. And those last two are the key, because the 2025 sales reveal two major truths about the Picasso market right now. The hidden 1943 portrait wasn't just valuable, it sold for almost 4 times the estimate. Also, collectors aren't chasing simple Picasso paintings anymore. They're chasing stories, emotional depth, wartime drama, psychological intensity. The Dora Maar portraits have all of that. And that's why a work that sat in a private home for almost a century can suddenly appear and instantly sell for tens of millions. Even Picasso's hidden chapters, the works nobody ever expected to see, are now powerful enough to shift the global art market. So what do you see when you look at these portraits? Do you see genius? Do you see heartbreak? Or do you see the untold stories behind the most famous artist of the 20th century? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you want to explore more hidden stories behind the world's most mysterious art, check out my other deep dives.